What's up, OTA Nation? Justin here from On Target Airgunner. Today we're going to check out a new scope from Vector Optics, the Constantine 1-10x24 first focal plane LPVO. Stay tuned. All right guys, so I've had this scope mounted on my no-toast for a while now. Taking it out on a few hunts, did some target shooting with it. What I was finding was I would zero the vertical axis up close, but the further my target was, the pellet would be off to the left. The impact point would be off to the left, regardless of wind direction. Wind could be blowing to the right, the pellet would be off to the left. Then I would immediately reverse direction, shoot that way. You know, if it's due to the wind blowing, then it would obviously blow the direction of the wind that way, but it didn't matter which direction I was facing into the wind, the pellet impact was off. So turns out, I guess the mounts were either bad or weren't mounted correctly. I switched out the mounts. Now it's perfectly in line. It doesn't matter the distance. Obviously wind will affect it, but you know, if wind's pushing it to the right and I'm facing that direction, well, if I face this direction, it'll push it to the left, if that makes sense. Anyways, so it wasn't an issue with the scope. The scope is fixed parallax at 100 yards. Most LPVOs I see have fixed parallax. I don't think I've seen any actually that have adjustable parallax. Maybe not in my price range, but this one is fixed. Now I've tested other LPVOs with fixed parallax on air guns, and for the most part it works, especially if you're just going to be using it for target, for hunting. Now if you're looking for groups on paper, it might be better to get a scope with adjustable parallax, but for target hunting it's fine. Where it becomes an issue is obviously if you're less than that 100 yards, you could have some reticle shift to the left, right, up and down, because the reticle is set for 100 yards. I'm not going to show what I'm talking about there. Some of my other videos show what I'm talking about. Essentially, if you're not lined up with your scope, you can be off just a tiny hair to the left or right or up or down. Usually it's not that big of a difference, especially if you're centered right on the scope. If you're not centered, you can obviously see a big shadow, on one side or another. So if you got a clear, crisp image all the way around, you're most likely centered more or less. And like I said, for hunting, it's going to be fine, because if you hit Mr. Squirrel, right in the sternum, or just a couple millimeters left or right, it's still going to be a kill shot. Now if you're going for grouping on paper, yeah, this might give you a little bit of not so accurate of a group, if that makes sense. Hunting, which is what I use this for, fits the bill. I like that it's small and tactical. Very lightweight. Like I said, it's up to 10 power magnification, which is plenty for this Notos. I've taken squirrels out to 100 yards with it. I could probably go further. I'll give you guys some scope footage in a second, but really nice. The throw lever, I like how it's got this little fin right here. It makes it really easy to change your magnification up and down. The eye box is pretty forgiving. You got a good sense of the reticle view right here. I can get close, still see good. Once I'm about here, it starts to get really fuzzy around the edges. I can see it good till about here. So I think that's pretty generous on the eye box. The turret adjustments are in 1/10 mil increments. The clicks are nice, audible, tactile. The reticle, I believe they call it the RAR reticle, rapid acquisition ring. Forgive me if I get it wrong, it might be rapid acquisition reticle. Essentially, it's like two reticles into one scope, and I'll show that in some footage. But when you're backed all the way out, it's almost like a red dot. You have that small red center, almost looks like a dot because you're so zoomed out, with a ring around it. And that's good for, you know, the closer range shots where, you know, just put that dot right on the squirrel and he's done. And then if you need to take further shots, obviously you zoom in, that smaller dot then turns into a bigger reticle itself that allows you to take a little more precision shots. And in addition to that, the reticle is illuminated. The inner dot, I guess you call it, it turns into a ring once you zoom in. And then the outer ring, and it's really bright. It has different levels of brightness. Definitely you can see it in daylight, and it's the lowest levels, not too bright for those early morning or late evening hunts. All right, that's enough yapping from me. Let's take a look at some of the scope footage. All right, so I'm gonna try and get you some scope footage. It's a little difficult on these LPVOs because there's not much space to hook up the side shot. But anyways, so right now we're looking at a palm tree, probably 20 yards away, 25. Let me see, actually I have my rangefinder. I'll tell you exactly what it is. 24 yards away. So reticle's dark. I'm fully zoomed out. And let me show you guys what I was talking about with the illuminated reticle. So I'm going to turn it to the brightest setting because we're in daylight, so I want the brightest setting right now. There it is. So you can see you got the little dot and then the outer ring. This is lowest magnification. And when I zoom in, see that is 3 power. That's 5 power. So you can see what I was talking about. It has like 2 rings. That outer ring, where it's kind of like a red dot when you're fully zoomed out. And the more you zoom in, there's another tiny little dot in the middle of that. Let me see if I can clear it up on the screen. I think it's because we're looking at a dark object. Let me take it back out. We'll zoom into something else. These problems aren't there with when you're looking through it yourself. It's just trying to get it on this footage here. Let's try this dirt, this bare dirt right there. And zoom back in so you can see now the reticle There, that's about as clear as I can get. Let me see what I was talking about. There's like an additional reticle inside that bigger reticle. And that is fully zoomed in, 10 power. You turn off the illumination. So I know it looks a little fuzzy, but that's not what it looks like in real life. It's just trying to get the reticle clear. On the phone, when you do that, it blurs the image. There's the image clear, but now the reticle's blurry. Let's look at some further distance stuff. Alright, so here's some more footage. Fully zoomed out. There you go, trying to get a clear image there. Now, I do have to say that on lowest magnification, the edges of the field of view are blurry. And when you get towards the center, it's clear, but the edges are blurry. Not sure if you guys can see that. Try and watch the edge. But that is what I see with the human eye. So that is an accurate translation there from camera to human eye. But at least from what I've seen, it's only on the lowest power. Another thing too, at least with all the LPVOs that I've tested, different brands, when you're on 1 power, it's more like a 0.75 power, maybe something like that, where the image in the scope is smaller than real life. So I don't know if you guys can kind of see the edges of the mountain, and then when I track over with the scope, it's a little bit different. And I think about there, that's more true. These freaking roosters. That's almost 1.5 power. And like I said, that's what I've seen with all other LPVOs. I don't know if that's just the nature of LPVOs. I don't know. But 1 power is not true 1 power. Alright, let's take up the zoom. So that's about 3 power. Let me get a range of that stuff right there. 50 yards, 49 yards to that stuff. Let's go to 10 power on that tree way out there. It's really hard to tell if it's clear or not out here filming in the sunlight. I think that's about as clear as the camera's gonna get. That's not too bad. Out here on the farm. But with any scope, you're going to see that mirage effect at distance. So if you can imagine, you know, you're taking a shot on an elk or something bigger, I mean, you can still do it. And zoom back out. That's pretty clear right there. 5 power. 2 power. 1 power. I don't know if I can reach that tree out there. 470 yards. That's what the rangefinder said. So pretty good. Try on the illuminated reticle, see if it makes any difference here. I doubt it. Oh yeah, you can still see it. Really good. Right in the sunlight and you can still see it. So if something maybe was in the shade and you couldn't really see where the dot was of the reticle, then you just turn on your illumination. Boom, it's right there hiding underneath that. You got him. Let me see if I can give you guys a better shot of that haziness I was talking about at low magnification. That's really exaggerated. That's not as hazy as it is, but you can kind of see how the center of the image is clearer and the edge is blurry, and that is how it looks. Maybe not to this magnitude, but the edges are blurry on 1 power. Alright, so that's my quick showcasing of the Constantine 1-10x24. I think this is the one I'm going to leave mounted on my Notos. Let me take that back. I don't know. Unless I can figure out some other way to record my footage, because I do like to record my hunts. How I was saying, you know, with LPVOs, they have this portion of the scope is short. This tube right here. And for these rings, they're pretty fat. It's hard to fit the side shot clamp on here. That has nothing to do with, you know, the performance of the scope. It's just me wanting to record my shots. But it is a nice scope. I definitely like the ability to take it up to 10 power. It's still pretty clear at that magnification. The issues, like I said, were on 1 power. The edges are a little blurry, but I don't think I'll ever back it down to that 1 power anyways, because it looks a little shrunken from what the real 1 power eyes see. Unless I don't know, maybe I got built-in magnification. Nah. But yeah, nice scope. Thank you Vector Optics for sponsoring this video. Make sure you guys check out their website. My discount code OTA10 should still be active on any of the Vector Optics products that you might like, not just this scope, but any other scope on there. Sorry it's been so long since my last video. Life's been crazy. I hope to get more content out soon. There's a Eurasian right there. Try and take him out. My boy loves dove. I'll have to do a cooking video one time. Anyways, if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. Justin from On Target Airgunner, thank you for watching. Let's shoot some more. Flew away. I'll get him now.